Something amazing just happened in the Vatican. In a place usually filled with quiet prayers and soft voices, two important church leaders had a very public fight. Cardinal Raymond Burke, who loves old church ways, suddenly yelled at Cardinal Luis Tagle, who believes in a more modern church. This shocking moment has everyone talking, and it might change the Catholic Church forever. Picture a normal day at the Vatican. Cardinals in red robes sit around a big table talking about church business. Everything seems normal until Cardinal Burke jumps up, his face red with anger. He points at Cardinal Tagle and starts shouting. The room goes completely quiet. Burke's loud voice fills the room as he says Tagle is destroying everything the church stands for and betraying true Catholic teaching. The other cardinals don't know what to do. This kind of public outburst never happens in the Vatican. It breaks all the rules of how these leaders should act. Tagle's response was surprising too. He didn't yell back. He didn't try to defend himself. He just sat there calmly with his hands folded, looking at Burke. This quiet response made Burke even angrier, but it showed everyone in the room who was really in control of the situation. To understand why this fight matters so much, you should know about these two very different men. Cardinal Burke looks like he came from the past. He wears fancy robes with long trains. He speaks Latin and loves all the old traditions. He believes the church should never change, no matter what happens in the world. When Pope Francis started making changes to the church, Burke became his biggest critic. Burke doesn't just disagree with the Pope. He works against him. He has signed official complaints about the Pope's decisions and gathered other old-school Catholics who think the church is going the wrong way. Cardinal Tagle from the Philippines is completely different. Where Burke is cold and strict, Tagle is warm and friendly. While Burke wears elaborate outfits, Tagle chooses simple clothes. Where Burke speaks with harsh judgment, Tagle talks about kindness and giving people second chances. Pope Francis clearly likes Tagle and has given him important jobs. Many people think Tagle could become Pope someday. He stands for a church that welcomes everyone, divorced people, immigrants, poor people, and those who feel pushed away by strict rules. The tension between these two men has been growing for years. They stand for completely different visions of what the Catholic Church should be. Burke believes the church must never bend its rules, even a little bit. He thinks the church needs to stand strong against modern ideas about marriage, gender, and sexuality. For Burke, changing any teaching is like breaking down a wall that protects the faith. Tagle believes something very different. He thinks the church needs to show more love and less judgment. He wants to focus on helping people rather than enforcing rules. When Pope Francis asked, "Who am I to judge?" about gay people, Tagle smiled in agreement while Burke got angry. What finally caused this public fight? People inside the Vatican say Burke had just learned about a new document being written, one that would make it easier for divorced Catholics to receive communion. For Burke, this was too much. He saw Tagle as the person pushing these changes, and he couldn't stay quiet anymore. As Burke shouted angrily, something amazing happened in the room. The cardinals actually began to physically move. Some moved closer to Burke, nodding in agreement with what he was saying. Others moved toward Tagle, showing they supported him. In that heated moment, the entire Catholic Church split into two visible groups: those holding on to tradition and those wanting change. A division that had been hidden for years was suddenly visible to everyone. An older Italian cardinal finally stood up and begged everyone to calm down. "Brothers, this is not how we solve our problems," he said with a shaking voice. But it was too late. The split in the church was now out in the open for everyone to see. When Burke finally stopped shouting, everyone looked at Tagle. Would he fight back? Would he defend himself against these serious accusations? Tagle looked around the room slowly, making eye contact with each person. Then he did something no one expected. He smiled gently and said, "I understand your passion, Cardinal Burke. I share your love for our church, even if we see different paths forward." Perhaps we should continue this conversation privately, with prayer and open hearts." This response shocked everyone, especially Burke. He came ready for a fight, and instead got an invitation to talk calmly. Some people thought Tagle's response was truly Christian, turning the other cheek when attacked. Others thought it was a smart move that made Burke look bad while making Tagle look reasonable and mature. Either way, it changed the feeling in the room instantly. Several cardinals visibly relaxed, while others looked disappointed that there wouldn't be more drama. You might wonder why you should care about two old men arguing in fancy robes. But this fight actually matters to millions of people around the world. The Catholic Church has 1.3 billion members worldwide. What happens in those Vatican meetings affects real people's everyday lives. From the single mother wondering if she can take communion to the gay teenager wondering if God loves him. This clash between Burke and Tagle isn't just about church politics. It's about which direction the world's largest Christian church will take in the coming years. Will it be Burke's vision, strict rules, unchanging traditions, and clear boundaries between right and wrong? Or will it be Tagle's approach, mercy first, meeting people where they are, and focusing on love over rules? The answer to this question will affect how the Church deals with many important issues. What the official Vatican spokespeople aren't saying is how deeply this fight has divided the Church's leadership. Inside sources reveal that cardinals from around the world are being asked to pick sides. Late-night phone calls are happening between church leaders. Secret meetings are being held in Vatican apartments. Everyone is wondering, will Burke be punished for his outburst? Will Tagle gain more power after this attack? One source close to Pope Francis says the Pope was deeply troubled when he heard about the fight. This is exactly what Jesus warned against, a house divided against itself, he reportedly told his closest advisors. The Pope now faces a difficult decision. If he punishes Burke, he risks making him a hero for traditional Catholics who already feel ignored. If he does nothing, he signals that such behavior is acceptable. And if he sides too openly with Tagle, he deepens the split in an already divided church. As news of this confrontation spreads, Catholics everywhere are choosing sides. In traditional parishes, priests are defending Burke's position. In progressive communities, Tagle is being praised for his calm response to the attack. Social media is filled with debate. Catholic bloggers are analyzing every word and gesture from the confrontation, and mainstream news outlets are running headlines about Vatican civil war and church at breaking point. For a church that usually moves very slowly, this sudden conflict feels like an earthquake. The aftershocks will continue for months or even years. The document that triggered Burke's outburst is still being written, but inside sources say it would change how the Church treats divorced Catholics who remarry. Currently, such Catholics cannot receive communion unless their first marriage is annulled, officially declared invalid. The new document would create easier paths for these Catholics to return to full participation in church life. For Burke, this change undermines the teaching that marriage is forever. For Tagle, it's about showing mercy to people in difficult situations. But this one issue is just the beginning. Behind it lie deeper questions about how the Church should approach modern problems like same-sex relationships, women's roles in the Church, how to deal with declining numbers in Western countries, and the Church's stance on birth control. Each of these issues raises the same question: how much can the Church change while still being the Church? Vatican experts see three possible outcomes from this dramatic confrontation. First, the traditional victory. Pope Francis could decide that Burke's concerns are valid, even if his behavior was wrong. This would mean slowing down or canceling many planned reforms. Traditional Catholics would celebrate, while progressives would feel betrayed. Second, the progressive path. The Pope could fully back Tagle and push forward with even more changes. This would likely cause traditional groups to break away, creating a formal split in the Church. Third, the middle way. Most likely, Pope Francis will try to find a compromise that keeps both sides within the Church. This might mean some changes move forward while others are put on hold. Whatever path is chosen, One thing is clear, the Church can't go back to pretending these divisions don't exist. They've been exposed for all to see. Lost in all the drama about church politics are the real people affected by these decisions. People like Maria, a divorced mother of 3 who remarried after her first husband abandoned the family. For 10 years she's attended Mass but hasn't been able to receive communion. I feel like a second-class Catholic, she says. The Church says God forgives all sins, but apparently not divorce. Or James, a devoted Catholic who is gay. I didn't choose this, he says. I just want to be accepted in the Church I love without being told I'm living in sin. These personal stories are what make the Burke-Tagle clash more than just Vatican gossip. Real lives hang in the balance. This isn't the first time the Catholic Church has faced such a deep division. Throughout its 2000-year history, the Church has weathered many storms, from the Great Schism that split Eastern and Western Christianity, to the Protestant Reformation that changed religion forever. Each time the Church had to decide how much to change and how much to stay the same. Each time there were heated debates between those wanting to preserve tradition and those pushing for reform. What makes this moment different is the speed of modern communication. In the past, church conflicts could simmer for decades before most Catholics even knew about them. Today, news of Burke's outburst reached millions of people within hours. This means church leaders have less time to work things out quietly. The pressure for a clear decision, one way or another, is much greater than in past conflicts. Whether you're Catholic or not, this Vatican battle matters. The Catholic Church is the world's largest and oldest continuously operating organization. Its decisions influence politics, social issues, and moral debates worldwide. If the Church shifts in a more progressive direction under leaders like Tagle, it could change how millions of people think about issues like divorce, homosexuality, and women's roles. If it doubles down on tradition under voices like Burke, it could become a powerful force against many modern social changes. Either way, what happens next will affect far more than just the people sitting in Catholic pews on Sunday. Don't just watch this drama unfold from the sidelines. This is a moment when ordinary Catholics can make their voices heard. Contact your local bishop to let church leaders know which vision of the Church you support. Join the conversation by sharing your thoughts with fellow Catholics in your community. Stay informed by following coverage as this story develops. And pray for unity. Whatever side you're on, pray that the Church finds a way forward together. This Vatican battle is just beginning, and the outcome will shape the Catholic Church for generations to come. Was Burke right to speak out, or did he cross a line? Is Tagle's gentle approach the future of the Church, or is it a dangerous departure from tradition? The Catholic Church stands at a crossroads, and this unexpected confrontation between 2 powerful cardinals might just be the moment that changes everything.